pledges to reduce greenhouse gas pollution. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, which synthesizes the scientific consensus on the issue, has set a goal of keeping warming under 2 degrees Celsius or 3.6 Fahrenheit and pursuing an even lower warming cap of 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2.7 Fahrenheit. Both of those targets are in jeopardy. Major countries are already falling behind on their pledges. According to a UN report issued at the end of 2018, and emission levels in 2030 need to be approximately 25 to 55% lower than they were in 2017. Previous research suggests that even if countries do meet their pledges to reduce these emissions, those commitments won't be enough to stave off severe warming. So, what can be done? Addressing climate change will require many solutions, and there is no magic bullet. Nuclear power, yes or no? Yet nearly all of these solutions exist today, and many of them hinge on humans changing the way we behave, shifting the way we make and consume energy. The required changes span technology behaviors and policies that encourage less waste and smarter use of resources. For example, improvements to energy efficiency and vehicle fuel economy, increases in the wind and solar power, biofuels from organic waste, and setting a price on carbon, protecting forests are all potent ways to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide and other gases trapping heat on the planet. Scientists are also working on ways to sustainably produce hydrogen, most of which is currently derived from natural gas, to feed zero emission fuel cells for transportation and electricity. Other efforts are aimed at building better batteries to store renewable energy, engineering a smarter electric grid, and capturing carbon dioxide from power plants and other sources with the goal of storing it underground or turning it into valuable products such as gasoline, for example. Nuclear power, despite concerns over safety, water use, and toxic waste, should also be part of the solution, because nuclear plants don't contribute any direct air pollution while operating. But planting trees, restoring seagrasses, and boosting the use of agricultural cover crops could help clean up significant amounts of carbon dioxide. Restoring forests already chopped down in Brazil, for example, could draw about 1.5 billion metric tons of CO2 out of the air. In a recent study published by the National Academies of Science, estimates the world forests and farms could soar 2.5 gigatons. Those are relatively modest numbers given historic carbon emissions of 2.2 trillion metric tons. But every contribution is needed to curtail the world's current trajectory. Communities around the world are already recognizing that adaptation must be also a part of the response to climate change. From flood-prone coastal towns to regions facing increased droughts and fires, a new wave of initiatives focuses on boosting resilience. Those include managing or preventing land erosion, building microgrids and other energy systems built to withstand disruptions, and designing buildings with rising sea levels in mind. Solutions, comprehensive yet simple plans for reversing our current course. We have the technology today to rapidly move to a clean energy system. The ideas vary, of course, but the message is consistent. We already have many of the tools needed to address climate change. Some of the concepts are broad ones that governments and businesses must implement, but many other ideas involve changes that anyone can make. Rethinking your modes of transport. We have the technology today to rapidly move to a clean energy, as I told before. Things you can do to prevent climate change. For starters, taking public transportation to work is a great manner to cut out emissions. Riding your bike to work is also incredibly helpful to the environment and is a great method to get exercise. Be more conservative with energy usage. Make sure to turn off lights. Replace your light bulbs with energy efficient light bulbs to help you save electricity too. Get active and vote. This means voting for legislation and politicians that aid against the detrimental effects of climate change. Recycling is a cost-effective and eco-friendly process that eliminates waste and doesn't emit greenhouse gases into the environment. Be sure to collect your discarded paper, glass, plastic, and electronics to your local recycling center. The professionals will take these items to a processing plant where they will be remade into other recyclable materials again. Educate yourself and the others. There are many platforms for us to utilize that can allow us to spread our message easily. Whether you use word of mouth or social media, there are always ways to educate the others on what climate change is doing to our planet. You can help protect the planet by educating the others. Focusing on efforts to spread awareness about renewable energy is the best way to create a positive impact in our community. The energy sources that belong to this group are considered inexhaustible, as their quantities are constantly renewed when used. Examples of renewable sources are water, energy from river water, solar, energy from the sun. The wind is the energy from the wind, of course. The biomass is the energy from organic matter. The geothermal, energy from the earth interior. Oceanic, energy from the tides and waves. And hydrogen, chemical energy of the hydrogen molecule. Solutions. Here you will have an example of the Itaipu hydroelectric plant. The Itaipu hydroelectric plant, located in Foz do Iguaçu, Paraná, in Brazil, is the large hydroelectric plant in our country and the one that generates the most electricity in the world. Solar energy is a solution, right? One of the solutions is also to invest in the children. Energy education should start from childhood, addressing primarily renewable sources and energy efficiency. This should be addressed in all schools, mainly in elementary school science subjects. We need this and future generations to have access to more information about the conscious of the use of energy for a more sustainable world. Education with energy applies several actions that extends to all age groups, including the training of educators and students. Promote the changes in energy use habits working with children and adolescents, aiming at raising awareness about the efficient and safe use of energy. This stimulus can lead to a consumer who has sustainable habits in the future. Now, some tips. I'm almost finishing here. So, teach a child to plant a tree. Teach her why trees are necessary. Teach the children to water and fertilize the plant. Teach your child to charge people who throw garbage in the street. The child has the power of persuasion. Invite a child to see a polluted river and tell him or her how many fish there are suffering. Encourage your child to consume natural products, but tell them why this is important. Don't encourage children to fix their toys. Encourage your child to take care of their clothes, and when it's no longer useful, donate to a colleague, but also encourage them to wear clothes from other colleagues. This will contribute to the circular economy. And finally, do all these practices yourself. To summarize, education with energy applies several actions that extend to all age groups, including the educations and students. Don't forget this. Thank you very much. I hope I could share some knowledge with all of these wonderful participants here, and it was really amazing to be here today. Thanks a lot.
Most welcome, ma'am, and thank you so much. Yeah, of course, it is incredibly explained with great insights. And I was just saying that a lot of comments were there, and they're finding your presentation incredibly awesome. So one thing leads to the other. Deforestation leads to climate change, which leads to ecosystem losses, which negatively impact our livelihood. It's a vicious cycle. Climate change is the greatest threat to our existence in our short history of this planet. Nobody is going to buy their way of its effect. But ma'am has really given a great solution. In the best part was you explained very easily. Like we have understood each and everything. So will is the crucial part which you have explained. Will is the crucial part for climate change.